Meeting to order. You have the agendas.
Yes.
I thought you did. I got one for workshop.
I'd like to start with Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Start out with a roll call.
Supervisor Alberico.
I'm here.
Trustee Barbois. Here. Trustee Bodisich.
Here.
Collector Lance McCullough.
Here.
Highway Commissioner Shalinski.
Here.
Trustee Morelli.
Here.
Trustee Lewandowski.
Here.
And myself and Grant Spooner.
All right. We're here for the workshop for our annual tax levies. We have the town levy first. Okay, I thought we were going to do the highway first. The town levy, everybody, I believe I put enough copies out there for everybody. It's the same as every year. As everybody's aware, we are a tax-capped county. We can only raise the levy up 5% for the CPI. And the CPI is always very low. Right now, I understand it's at 0.08% is all we're going to be able to get this year. I thought our Dave Myers should have been here by now. He must have run into some traffic coming over the bridge. He's the one that calculates all our levies for us, our accountant. He's not here, obviously, to answer any questions. I don't know if I would be able to answer any of the questions you may have, but I will attempt.
Well, what did it go up from last year around? Do you know that? No?
No, I don't.
I mean, I guess you could, obviously it went up 0.8%.
0.8%.
You don't know what that is in dollars?
No.
Here he is.
There's Dave right now. Thank you, Dave. We just started.
Hi.
Let me pull up a chair here. Let the minutes indicate that Dave is here. I was just going to explain to the board that we're tax capped and we can only go up 5%, or the CPI, which is 0.08, I believe.
Yes.
I told you today. And I asked for any questions, if I can answer them, and of course I can't. So, Denise asked what it went up from last year. Do you have that number in front of you?
What went up from last year?
Our levy.
The final extension? Yes. Let me give me just a second to focus here. The final extension was higher in 2014 than 2013 by $36,857. Now, that's not what you asked for, that's what you got. That's what they extended. Then the final collections will differ from that by a few dollars as well. So the levy obviously is what you asked for, and then they do all kinds of calculations, and then they put up the final extension, which is almost always less than what you levy. It'll never be more because they can't go higher than what you ask for.
So what we ask for, they then determine that amount. We can't go over what we ask for, but they determine how much it's going to be.
Right, and generally what almost every government in the area does is asks for 5%.
5%, right?
And that way you don't need to do a truth in taxation, you don't have to put it in the newspaper or anything like that. So, and then you're going to be limited by the consumer price index or 5%. And I have a list here.
I think last year we were 1.6 or 1.9.
It was 1.5. This year it's 0.8. The year prior to that was 1.7. So it's not been above 5. I've got it going all the way back to 1992, and it's always been below 5% every single year. I don't know prior to that,
Right.
the property tax extension limitation law went into effect in '91, so they weren't really calculating it prior to that.
It's been that long since
Mhm.
then.
Why do you think it went over long?
Oh, it's just based on prices. Yeah, so, you know, all of your consumable goods that they use in their formula, prices just generally were pretty flat this year, which is good for the consumer.
But our equalized assessed valuation went up, correct?
Well,
Slightly, 4%, did I hear?
that is an estimate
Is the abstract she gave me today.
based on, right, so based on what Debbie calculates. So yes, if she mentioned to me on the phone that it was about, you know, roughly 4%. So if that's true, your tax rate, if you calculate it out, would actually go down, the rate because your EAV would be higher, and to produce similar dollars, because you're not going to get much of a raise, you know, let's say you got that 1% roughly, your rate would go down to, I think you were at 16.5 or 0.1655 was your rate as part of everyone's tax bill. Whereas like, and I don't have the school districts or anything in front of me, but they might be 4 point something or 5 point something. Are you familiar
I don't
with
have,
the?
I know exactly, I know where to get the information, I don't have it memorized in my head.
Right, if anybody went to their tax bill, they could see on their tax bill what the tax rates are. And I think a typical rate in total for you, for this area, was about 11.1, let's say. And that's dollars per 100, rate per $100 of equalized assessed value. And so let's just say that in total it was 11.1, you're 0.1655 of that. So you're a pretty minute amount of somebody's total tax bill.
2%, somebody.
Somewhere in that
Somewhere in
neighborhood,
that
right?
area.
Percent of the tax bill. So does anybody else have any questions about our levy? I'm going to suggest that we do go for 5% right now. When they do calculate it all out, and we come back they usually come back in the early part of spring with the numbers, and that is the time we can probably look at it and decide if we want to lower our levy or not for next year, which may or may not be a good thing to do if we can.
Yeah, I did a rough calculation,
Tax rate?
The tax rate and stuff.
and based on this 0.8%, or 0.8, let's say you extended, or they extended their extension the way they probably will, and given the 4% roughly increase, your total dollars, the increase, like last year I said it was about 36,000, this time it will be about 25,000.
25,000.
That's a, best guess based on the information we know.
Okay.
And then at that point, you can go back to the county and say, we want to just go with the same dollars as last year.
Last year.
If you want, you could choose to lower it if you want at that
I
point.
know we did, way before any of us were on this board, when our senior levy came in, we did make a promise at that point in time we'd never go over a nickel.
Mhm.
And I
Well, it was
just-
4 cents, yeah.
4 cents, whatever it is. I just want to make sure our senior levy doesn't do that this year, and it shouldn't.
Right, yeah, no, based on the numbers that are in front of you, no,
Okay.
and based on what the dollar, the numbers we know, it
I don't
would
know if
not
that's
do
in
that.
writing anywhere, but they did say it, and I'm gonna try to keep up to
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, and there were years in the past where the township actually levied less than they did the prior year. The final extension came out, and you said, no, we're gonna lower this, and you went actually below, so you actually reduced taxes, if you will,
Reduced taxes, yeah.
right? both rate and dollars.
All right, does anybody else have any questions as for our levy?
You just have to be passed in December meeting, right?
It'll be passed in the December meeting, right?
And keep in mind, House Bill 177 went to committee, and that is asking to freeze all taxes for 3 years.
Is it 3 years, John, or 2?
3.
Is it 3?
Yeah.
3 years now. Okay.
That would be making our discussion moot.
Yeah.
For the
But we
next 3
still,
years.
at this point in time, we still have to go through.
Yeah, no,
our
I'm
due
just saying,
diligence,
it's,
yeah.
I didn't think it'd get as far as it got, but
Yeah. All right, well, moving on then, we'll go to the highway levy, which is basically.
I was gonna say,
it's basically the
same thing. Is it 4.99, or do we do 5, Dave? Just
It's $1 under 5,
5,
right?
okay. That's basically what I did. And again, we'll get the 0.8.
Right, it's,
.08.
Yeah,
and based on the rough numbers, again, I did just a quick calculation, and let me find the road. Well, the road is a little bit different in that last year you extended, or you levied for a dollar amount, and they actually ended up extending $1,409,931. However, you didn't get all that because $517,000 went to the cities.
correct.
Because you have to split half and half, you're overlapping
Yep.
EAV with the cities.
And on that last page, I gave kind of the last 3 years that Dave sent me. And you'll see that 1 year was good, and then it kind of went down. That's when we got rid of those line items, right? We lumped
Right.
it all into one.
And they're all back the way they were now.
There's also, I meant to call you and ask you, there's a line item in there for bridge construction. If I pull that out of the general road maintenance budget and put money in there for the Smith Road Bridge, will that even less than that 50-50 split?
You would have to levy specifically for
Okay,
that.
that's fine, then we'll leave it like it is.
And I don't know that you could at this point.
Right,
You
no,
might
I
have to
don't
go to
think I can
voters for
add
that.
without, yes, exactly.
But just an estimate based on prior years and whatnot, it would result in an increase of about 12,500 roughly of dollars.
Right.
In addition to where you are now for next year, if everything went through the way it may.
I was doing some figuring with all the letters you get where there's increase in materials and stuff, we're actually gonna lose money next year. You know what I mean, like, there's so much material costs going up that 12,000 ain't gonna cover that difference, I don't think.
So again, probably the best course of action is to ask for the 5%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then you're not gonna get all of it, you're gonna get the maximum, and then you live off of that.
All right, any questions about the road levy? All right. The other thing I'd like to do, I'd like to, I guess I should ask for a vote to amend the agenda. I'd like to bring up another subject. Can I have a motion to amend it? The agenda to include our budgets, both senior and town budgets.
Make that motion.
I got a motion by Debbie, or Barb,
I'll second.
a second by Dean. All right, thank you. What I'd like to do is, I just want to bring these up to date as to the senior budget has been on display for the last, I don't know, 15 days, I guess. And we're going to be voting on that agenda at our December 14th meeting. We had a workshop on it. We discussed everything in it. I do want to add another line item on that agenda for the possible, we don't know, purchase of a building. Right now, we do have money by ordinance put aside. We can't spend that money unless we have a line item in our budget for it. So should something come up, we want to spend the money, I need to put that as a line item in our senior. The other thing is I'm going to go ahead and amend our township budget to include the possible purchase of a building. So I will be putting that into paper, our clerk will put that into paper, we will display that for 30 days, and then we will have that as a line item in our town fund too. So everybody's aware, is there any questions on that? It's
Do you have
just
to put that
basically
under
a
purchase and renovation, or just purchase?
renovation or purchase, yes. I'll put those in those line items, because we don't know which direction we may go. We're looking at possibilities of redeveloping this floor, and possibly finding a building, but should something come up, I want to be able to spend the money.
How much, I mean, do you put a specific amount?
I was planning on putting $400,000 line item in our senior fund and a $700,000 line item in our town fund. Thereabouts, I'm going to talk to our accountant about whether we need a little buffer or, you know, should we, do you think?
Well, I mean, it would depend on how much, you know,
We want to
if
spend.
you found something that
Yeah.
suited your needs and how much you were gonna spend, you might wanna go maybe a few more dollars than that.
All right.
And this is out of available fund balance.
So, yeah, available funds.
Right, these are monies that you have on hand, you're talking about using, right, for
Right.
this? That makes sense.
Any questions on that? Any citizens wishing to address the board here tonight?
Can we vote in this meeting? I don't think so.
No.
We had a motion and a second. We had discussion and all we have to do is go like that to say.
The reason you can't vote on it is because
Not
it
to
wasn't.
vote on it, but vote on to put it as a line item. Correct?
I don't believe we
I
have to
think we
vote
need a
on that.
consensus.
We have a
That's all.
consensus.
You don't have to vote on it, it's the public noticed, it's,
Yeah, it will be voted on in the public hearing.
yeah.
And we will have, oh, that's the other point, because it has to be in paper and be on display for 30 days, we will have to have an extra meeting, workshop meeting, special meeting, and that's going to be, the public hearing will be on December 28th, the same as our water board night, and it'll be at 7:15, and then we'll have a workshop after the public hearing,
A special meeting.
a special meeting. Other than that, I have nothing else tonight, unless there's any questions or anybody wants to, citizens addressing the board. Hearing none, I would call for an adjournment.
So move.
I got a motion by John Alsich. And-
I'll second it.
And I got a second by Michael Lewandowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. One quick, Christmas in the Square this Saturday. It's always a fun time for everybody. 1:30 to 4:30, I think they'll be introducing the local people, you know, probably about 4 o'clock, 4:15 after 4. So, it's always a good time. Come on out and enjoy it.
Is that what time they light the tree then?